Oh, well, apparently it's live, but I'm having a rough time. Why is it not? I'm trying to share it. I apologize. It's succeeded in going live, but it appears that I'm failing at sharing. I mean, I guess I can't share. That's where the difficulty is. You're in case. No, I understand, but it's telling me my connection is unstable. That's not normal. No, but the Wi-Fi is always there. It's never been okay. It seems to have stabilized. I hope. Hopefully, it will stay stable now. All right, we'll learn. If it works out, great. If not, then maybe we'll, you know. Oh, feed not running. How about now? Question. Yay, you can hear me. That is wonderful. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like the Wi-Fi at Shul is having issues today. Not 100% sure why. Because I do the class exactly in this spot every week. Fuzzy visuals. Yeah, I'm not really sure what I can do there. Yeah, I don't have a way to. I will say the quality of seeing me is really good, which so just wanted to point that out in case you thought next week to show up in person, so you won't have this fuzzy issues. All right. ביום השני הקריב נתנאל בן צוער נשיא שכר. So on the second day of the making of the Mishkan, which is the second day of the month of Nisan, right? The sacrifice, the leader of the tribe of Issachar. ומבואר בדרשי חז"ל ששבט יששכר הקריב שני לשבטים. So our sages say Issachar were the second tribe to bring a sacrifice from the tribes, right? לאחר נחשון בן עמינדב, meaning first came the tribe of Yehuda, נחשון בן עמינדב, which came the day before, and then the second. Even though Issachar was born ninth, it was the ninth child born. לפי שהיו בעלי תורה. Why? Because Issachar were Torah learners. וכמו שנאמר, מבני יששכר יודעי בינה לעתים. It says from the sons of Issachar, those who understand things, I guess. מבני יששכר יודעי בינה לעתים, לדעת מה יעשה ישראל, to know what the Jewish people should do, the actual full pasuk. וידעו הדיוק בזה. So
they stay in this way.
Yeah. No, but the question is when they brought the sacrifice, they were the second ones to bring a sacrifice, but they were the
because they're saying this is the way they stay.
Sure, but even the way they stayed, another question: why did they stay that way? So you can have
that's probably the main question because sacrifice go away. Or the first one, why they stay? Stay.
Let me see if I can even turn off the video. Let me try. Let me see what I can do. Just choose podcast type. I mean, I don't think I can even turn it off. I'm not sure how to even turn it off. Right? No, but there's we're gonna learn the reasons, right? So in fact to sacrifice because the greatness of Torah, even before the tribe of Yehuda. גם צריך להבין מה שנאמר נתנאל בצוער נשיא יששכר. שמקדים את שמו של הנשיא נתנאל בצוער לפני שמו של השבט. Also, another question. do they say the name of the leader before the name of the tribe? And it's an exception. By every other tribe, they say the name of the tribe and then the leader. Like, for example, ביום השלישי נפסי לבני זבולון, ואחר כך אליהו בן חילון. So on the third day, you have the leader of the tribe of Zvulun, and then it says the name. Why is it that here we said the name first, and then the other way? And that is the case by every other tribe except Yisachar. Why does he say first Netanel ben Tzuar, and only then he was the leader of Yisachar? ומזה מובן שהשם נתנאל בן צוער שמקדים הכתוב שלפני נשיא יששכר שייך לזה שהקריב ביום השני. So the fact that it was Netanel ben Tzuar that was said before that he's the leader of the Yisachar has some relationship to the fact that he actually brought the sacrifice on the second day, right? He brought the sacrifice on the second day because of the fact that he is love. The second day, Binal 18 from the tribe of Israel will come those who understand things. And what is Truma? Truma is the letters of Torah and an extra mem. The difference between Truma and Torah is just one extra mem. And what is this extra mem? It's the fact that the Torah was given on 40 days. And so it connects to Truma in a simple way, meaning so Moshe Rabbeinu went up to the mountain for 40 days to receive the details of the laws of the Torah from Hashem. And the fact that Truma has the words of Torah and the 40 mem, which is 40, teaches on the connection with the Torah, which is the idea of the tribe of Issachar to the idea of Truma, right? And what about Truma in general? When you look at Truma, it should be approximately 1 in 40. That's what the amount of Truma should be. It's about 1 in 40. And it's explained that the idea of Truma is connected to the service of the Kriyat Shema. Interesting. Which is the highest service, right? The service a person does. The Kriyat Shema is the highest service. We're going to explain. There are explanations, and the sages often say about the idea of prayer. Sometimes they say the most important, the greatest prayer is the Amidah. And other times they say that the most important part and the main part of the prayer is actually Kriyat Shema. Why? And you loved Hashem, your God, right? Meaning that there's no service greater and as important like the love of Hashem, like love, the service of love, and the love of Hashem. When do we experience? When do we describe? When do we pray? When are we supposed to experience this love of Hashem? It's specifically in the Kriyat Shema. That's when we can have this love of Hashem. V'afta et Hashem Elokecha. We say it and we should try to feel it, right? That's that is in the Shema. And this is also explained the Truma, which is also a very elevated thing, is connected to Kriyat Shema. So when we're talking about Shema, we get to learn a bit about Shema now. The first two portions of Kriyat Shema, the sages say, why did Shema come before the Hayayim Shamoah? And it was if you heard, right? Because there's the second part of Shema, We get and if you listen, this is what you're going to get, and then the opposite, right? Why do we have in if you listened? So first you should accept upon yourself the yoke of heaven, and then accept the yoke of mitzvot. אמנם מזה שואלים למה קדמה שמע לוויה עם שמוע? מובן שיש מעלה בהם שמוע. So why do we say Shema before V'haya im Shema? Why do we say Hear, O Israel first? Maybe you should say first, and if you hear, you're going to get all this thing. Now, Hear, O Israel, right? There's a logical way that this should be a preface, right? First you say, and if you listen to the Shema, this is what you're going to have. And then you say, okay, now that we've explained why you should listen to the Shema, if you listen to Hashem's mitzvot, now let's hear, O Israel, right? Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem is one, right? So there's a reason why you should bring it before Shema. And this is actually similar to the case about the tribe of Yehuda and Sachar, which are like the two portions of Shema and V'ayayim Shamoah, right? They're connected to that, right? And we're going to explain how that is, but Yehuda is like the portion of Shema, and Yisachar is like V'ayayim Shamoah. Shemitzad Ma'alat Torah, if you look at the Torah itself, because they're the Torah learners, they're the scholars of Torah and the Jewish people, it would have been worthy that the first sacrifice would be Yisachar, even before the tribe of Yehuda. But in actuality, we know it was not. It was on the second day, after the Korban of Yehuda. And similarly, V'ayayim Shamoah is the second portion after you say Shema, right? First you say the Shema, and then you get to V'ayayim Shamoah as the second portion. Even though, again, it would make sense to preface the Shema by this, right? Because this would be accepting the yoke of Torah before. And so, because both are similar, we can understand that the fact that the sacrifice of the tribe of Issachar was on the second day is the same reason that V'hayayim Shamoah is the second portion. Why? Because we want him to first accept the yoke of heaven and then the yoke of mitzvot, right? First you say, and now this is me explaining my understanding of it, right? So you say the Shema, you accept the yoke of heaven, and then you go and say, okay, now that I've accepted Hashem, I accept the yoke of heaven, now let's talk about the mitzvah and what does it mean, and etc. So similarly, the side note explanation says, when we're talking about Yehuda and Issachar, although the Torah of Issachar comes before Yehuda, but in Yehuda there's an idea of accepting the yoke of kingship of heaven, right? And this is why the tribe of Yehuda came first, on the first day. And the tribe of Issachar on the second. We're going to explain more. Gimel. So what is the idea of accepting the yoke of heaven, the yoke of kingship? To accept the divine will, the supernal will. But similarly, isn't that the point of accepting the yoke of mitzvot? You accept upon yourself to fulfill the mitzvot. Accepting the yoke of mitzvot is not because I'm going to get a good reward. I'm going to give tzedakah, so I'm going to get money. I'm going to do this, so I'm going to get this. No, that's not the point. That's not the idea of accepting the yoke of mitzvot. The idea is, why do we accept the yoke of mitzvot? Why do we do mitzvot? Because that's Hashem's will, right? And that is what Hashem wishes from us, right? Every mitzvah that we say a blessing for, what do we say? That sanctified us with his mitzvah and commanded us, right? The only reason we do this is because we were commanded. This is why it's accepting the yoke of mitzvot, specifically the yoke, right? Not שקיום מצוות צריך להיות בדרך קבלת עול. The doing of mitzvot needs to be in a way of accepting a yoke, basically because it's a command, not because I think or it makes sense. I don't wash my hands before bread because it's logical, it's good, it's hygienic. No. Those are also true reasons, and that's why you might use soap in the sink before. But when you wash your hands 3 and 3 and say the blessing, you wash because that is a supernal will. That's the mitzvah, right? So when we do any mitzvah, it should be because we accept the yoke, because of the command in them. So if that's the case, so why do we need Shema before Vayam Shamoah? Why do you need to accept the yoke of the kingship first, or the yoke of the kingship of heaven first? What is the advantage of accepting the yoke of the kingship first before the yoke of mitzvot? What do we gain by this? וידוע הביאור בזה שהקדמת מלכות שמיים לעול מצוות היא בדוגמת הקדמת נעשה נשמע. So it is known, the explanation. The preface of the yoke of kingship of heaven to the yoke of mitzvot is similar to the preface of Naaseh to Nishma. We will do and we will hear or learn. What's the idea of Nishma? The second part, we will hear, meaning you accept upon yourself to do everything you hear, everything you learn. Certainly, the Nishma, I will hear, anything I hear is also a nullification of accepting of the yoke. What does it mean, the self-nullification of Nishma? We will do what we hear. We're going to fulfill everything we told. We're going to nullify our internal desire, right? So you might have an internal desire for a cheeseburger, but Hashem says you can't have meat and dairy. So you're not going to do it, right? Because that's a desire of Hashem, you know? And this is why, but it's only the desire of your own internal desire, right? But it's going to fulfill everything. But first, you have to have the Naseh before the Nishma, which is even higher. It's just a complete nullification that is above personal desires. Until it's even above desire itself, right? The idea of desire, right? So for godliness, it is above the idea of desire. This is similar, the idea of accepting the yoke of kingship first, and then the yoke of mitzvot. When you accept the yoke of mitzvot, you accept upon yourself to fulfill the inner desires of the mitzvot, of the commandment. This is nullification to the desire. But before that, you have to have the acceptance of the yoke of heaven, which the idea of it is nullifying yourself to the one who desires above the desire itself, right? The idea of we should not just nullify ourselves to the desires of Hashem, but even higher to Hashem himself, to the King himself. And this is the difference between the two portions of Shema, the Shema itself and the Vayayim Shamoah. And it was, if you hear, right? If you listen to the Torah, you're going to get this and that and this. These are internal desires. We want the rain to fall. We want our animals to be good. You want good physical things. You're going to gather your grain and all the good stuff. These are specific things that people would want. Unlike the portion of Shema. This is the general of Torah and mitzvot. And especially the first pasuk of Kriyat Shema, it doesn't even talk about Torah and mitzvot at all. It's saying the first pasuk, Shema Israel, he would accept the yoke of the kingship of heaven. ולכן בפסוק הראשון בקריאת שמע